Hello there guys, welcome back to Younes Talks Football. Welcome back to a brand new video. I hope all of you are doing better today. It's the day after the night before where we were all trying to sink in what happened yesterday lunchtime-ish after midday, and despite Chelsea only losing 1-0, that was probably the worst 1-0 defeat you could possibly have. We got absolutely dominated. And I gave my match review. If you haven't seen it already, make sure you do. But we're going to go into a little bit more detail, and as well as that, cover some bits of news as we amp up for the tie against Manchester City taking place on Wednesday night, where we have to play against them for the EFL Cup, the League Cup, over at the Etihad. And is there going to be rotation? Is there not? Are kids going to be involved? Will they not? Maybe Man City will do the same. Who knows? I've got a bit of news to cover on that aspect. But before we get into a bit more analysis on what went down yesterday and just the overall mood, I want to speak from the heart and see exactly where do Chelsea stand. I want to let you know first, this video is brought to you and sponsored by the OneFootball app. Make sure you download the OneFootball app. Link in the description for all of your footballing needs. Whether it's your latest news, including the latest on Liverpool, up for sale. Who would have thought that would have happened? But they're up for sale. So if anyone wants to buy Liverpool, now's your chance. If you've got 4 billion tucked away somewhere, you can buy them. You want to find out all the latest. You want to find out all the updates, your score updates, your statistics. And if you're in the UK and Ireland, you get Italian Serie A to watch, one match per match day that you can stream on the OneFootball app. As well as that, you get all the highlights of Italian Serie A on top of that. So make sure you hit the link in the description. Download it now and enjoy. Let's get cracking, because I'm going to speak from the heart here. Let me take this off because I've got to get comfortable. It's a little bit hot. I'm going to get comfortable. So, yesterday, Chelsea were well and truly dominated in every sense of the word, right? Arsenal showed up with pure confidence, pure ease. They could have scored more. They didn't. But I've got so many things in my head from all sorts of angles. Let me try and I just want to be completely real with you guys and just tell you exactly what I feel. There's no structure to this. I'm just going to try and throw things at you. Keep up with me. But I look at us and I just think, okay, the players, some of them, do they belong here? Do they care? Do they have the capabilities? Do they have the ability? You know, some players yesterday where we saw some mistakes that are at this level unforgivable. It's just unforgivable. You know, Loftus-Cheek, for example. Shocking performance. Shocking. You can't play like that if you're at Chelsea Football Club. You just can't. Even on a bad day, you can't. You know, I look at, well, Aubameyang didn't do much. He had 8 touches during the game. The only difference between Aubameyang and Lukaku, for example, was that with Lukaku, we all had a problem with what he did. If he didn't do what he did, I think there'd be more understanding on the fact that it's not just all Lukaku 100%. Of course, it never was just all Lukaku. He wasn't just the problem. Get rid of Lukaku, problem solved. No, it's what he did. It proved to us, okay, that you don't belong here, you don't want to be here, bye. I couldn't. It put all our other problems on the back burner. All we were just focusing on was get this guy at the club, please. Eventually we did, but the problems are still there. Aubameyang facing some of them now. Yesterday was a clear example. With just 8 touches during his whole game. He came off, I think, minute 65 or 70. So, in terms of actually trying to move forward, in terms of trying to create, in terms of trying to take advantage of any chance that actually comes our way, what's going on there? Aubameyang, questions. Kai Havertz, you know? Kai Havertz is a weird one because we bought him for that much money. Real Madrid wanted him, Bayern Munich wanted him, and then we get him, and we're like, oh my God, great, generational talent. After the seasons that he's had at Chelsea right now, this is how he's playing. You know, I'm not asking for creme de la creme now. And this is the whole vibe of this video. I'm not asking for, you know, the world. I don't want a trophy now, right now. Give me the Premier League title. Of course, that's delusional. But we have to see steps of progress, you know? Even if it's baby steps. Oh, okay, it's getting better. Cool. I can see something there. Nice. Oh, look, he's staying consistent. Cool. Okay. He's getting better. He's getting more confident. He's getting faster. He's getting stronger. Signs of development. There's none. There's none. And yesterday, very, very good analysis done from quite a few pundits in relation to Chelsea's chances. The very few that we had. But to try and get the ball in a position like Kai Havertz was, right, to get it across where he had a chance to get the ball across, right into the path of Aubameyang, right into the path of Sterling, who was on the other side. No. Takes 1, 2, 3, 4 more unnecessary touches. Tries to make the pass, intercepted. Or tries to make the pass, goes out for a throw. Misses the player. You can't. At this level, I'm sorry, you just can't. You can't make those mistakes. You just can't. So there's that. Mason Mount, another one. Now, with Mason, there is an element of we know that deep down. I mean, we all assume, right? Because he's from the academy. He's a Chelsea boy. You care. Surely you care. Right? I almost do not want to doubt that. I know deep down, Mace, Chelsea, he's a Chelsea boy. There's DNA there, 100%. I cannot doubt that, right? But his ability, is it really as good as many people actually think? Is he actually an answer to this team? I mean, I understand player of the year and all of that, cool, understandably, and deserved for those seasons for sure. But is it more that the standard of the team is low rather than him actually being, wow, the best? There's no X factor to Mace right now, especially this game yesterday was a clear example. But it's not just all of that. It's not just some of the players that I'm singling out. Cucurella, I even have to speak about Cucurella here. I wanted him. Goes to show you everything that you need to know. I wanted him, right? I've been screaming for him. I looked at him at Brighton. I was like, poor man, Cucurella, flipping out. He's playing class. We'd love to have him as competition for Chilwell, left back, left wing back. He'd come in and do a great job, stellar job, right? And then he came, and it looked like for the first few games, wow, this is good. And then he just dipped off. And I understand the whole tonsillitis thing and whatnot. Cool, I get it. But again, when I'm talking about there's mistakes that are just, you can't make them. Was the goal yesterday. He's literally hugging on to, who was he hugging? Was it Saliba? He was hugging on to, or was it Jesus? I forgot who was hugging. He was hugging someone. And the ball is literally gone right past him and he's looking at it and he's still hugging. Zombie, like I said in yesterday's review, zombie. You can't make that mistake. You can't. What is your business hugging him for that long? You see the ball, you're going to beat him. Well, go on. The aim of the game is to actually, get the ball, because that ball is what you need to try and put in the goal. If I've lost the concept of football, then I've gone mad, right? But that is it. What, you have no business trying not to actually go for the ball. He didn't. You can't make those mistakes. You can't. Not at this level. Not for Chelsea. You can't. So even at a player that I wanted, he's here and he's doing that. And I'm thinking, what's going on? So there's that. There's the players. But then I look to Graham Potter. And I feel for him to an extent. But I also have to call him out. Because as much as I feel for him, and I understand the circumstances, one thing to know about me, guys, absolutely, you all know, and you know a lot of you that do know me from back in the day and whatnot, cool, you know exactly where I stand. I'm not stupid. I am fairly rational, and I like to call things as I see them. I don't like to shy away and just hide, right? Graham Potter has been thrown into a storm. I sympathise with him for that. He's come in without a preseason, without a window. He's come in literally in the midst of chaos because we were already performing badly towards the end of Thomas Tuchel's time at Chelsea. And then you could see that, and we all know the truth now, that it wasn't due to that result in Zagreb as to why Tuchel was sacked. The decision was already made. Things had already broken down. Tuchel and Bowley not on the same page. Boom. Things fall apart. Which is why I tell you all the time, whenever performances dip, all of a sudden, things are happening behind the scenes. They are happening behind the scenes. You cannot have a very, very positive, well-accustomed dressing room that is in harmony and then they all go on the pitch and they perform badly. It can't happen. It's impossible. Not at this level. Maybe at a level where, ability has to be questioned, where the team is just not good enough, right? They care, they're trying, but they're just not good enough, right? Maybe. But at this level, where at least some of these lads are good enough, or they should be, that means that things have broken down somewhere in the dressing room, behind the scenes, at the training ground. So Graham Potter's come in as a new gaffer and understandably he's been thrown into a bit of a storm here to try and get a squad with players from previous managers, various managers, trying to get them to play to your way, trying to get them in harmony, Moment things look a little bit edgy, you're still trying to learn about them. You're still trying to get to know them. I understand all of that. And that's why I feel like, yes, any manager that comes in, cool, they need to be given time. They have to be given time. It can't work a miracle like that. But we go back to point number 1 that I mentioned. You have to see signs. You have to see steps of progress. We all remember when Tuchel came in, you could just see his blueprint was on the table immediately. That 0-0 draw to Wolves was a draw. It's not a great result, but at the time we looked at it and went, no, you know what? I see it. I like it. Cool. Let's run with it. I can see what he's doing here. It looks good. You could see the blueprint. You could see the way that we played was different immediately. That's the impact. That's the manager. When you look at all managers that have gone on to do well, you can see from the first 2 games, first 3 games, you can see what the manager's trying to do. With Potter, it's gone in reverse. He steered the ship, got the morale a bit high. Maybe his degree kicked in. I don't know. And then, all right, what we actually trying to do here now, after 12, 13, 14 games, whatever it is that we've had Potter for now, it's gone in reverse. We're more lost than we were when he took over. That's where now I'm starting to sit uncomfortably. With Graham Potter, I'm starting to sit uncomfortably. I remember the loss against Brighton, where I called out the fact that I don't know how he didn't recognise playing those guys at wing back was criminal. Sterling and Pulisic, criminal. You can't do that, right? How have we all seen it and he's not? Question mark. Red flag there already. Yesterday, seeing... Well, 2 things actually. Seeing him after the game say 2 things got me worried. I saw him say in relation to Mason Mount, when he was asked about Mason Mount's latest performances, including the last European tie, because it was in reference to the European tie. But he goes something along the lines of, and I'm paraphrasing, but Mace, he plays well when he's constantly playing, when there's a rhythm. He likes to play all the time, so I'm going to play him. Understandably, the context of that question was to do with the last European game, but even so, just hearing that is... No, don't let the player know that. What are you doing? Because you're almost giving a green light to the player that, oh, okay, well, I'm just gonna throw a tantrum if I'm not selected now, because he knows that I'm the best when I'm playing, so he's gonna play me. If I just make it look like if I think he's considering not playing me, I'm just gonna throw a little tantrum. He's gonna play me. He's gonna be like, oh no, I don't want to pee him off. Let's play him, because I can get the best out of him if he plays. No. You can't be sending those messages out. Another one was that he understood that Arsenal were the better team, but he thinks that the lads gave everything. Or the lads gave 100%. I would rather a manager comes out after the game, even if he's protecting his players, right? But he goes, we didn't do well enough. We didn't give, I feel like we didn't give enough. We can do better. You do that in a respectful way, in a cool way like that. Players understand, they're professionals. If they don't understand, you don't belong here. Simple as that. If I'm a manager and I'm coming out and saying, no, look, we weren't good enough. I feel like we didn't give as much as we should have. If a player's got a problem with that, I know your attitude stinks. You're out the door. See you later. I don't care. But to come and lie, just to protect them, no. There's ways of going about it. He literally come out and go, no, Arsenal deserved to win. They were the better team. The lads gave everything. Stop. If you're protecting the players by using that, that's a bad protection. Or if you actually believe that was them giving everything, then we've got a problem. Red flag. Red flag. Because there's no way anyone can see that was them giving everything. No way. So I now am asking questions. Because managers do deserve time, and they deserve to be given the foundation to do what they feel like they have to do to get the team to a place that they want to be. But I'm struggling to see what we're trying to do. I'm struggling to see players get corrected, players get motivated, even though motivation is one in itself. I think players should motivate themselves, but to see the manager actually try and guide players and bring them back on side when you can see them drifting off. Right, in terms of their attitude, their mentality, and their motivation. I saw none of that from Graham Potter. And then I hear after the game that he thinks they gave him everything. That doesn't sit well with me. It doesn't sit well with me at all. Because the last thing we need is to actually have a manager and then try and build a little bit over 1 or 2 windows and then sack him. You know, give a manager what he's actually going to do, but the signs need to be there in terms of what we're trying to do. I hear people talking about Brighton and saying, oh, you know, look at Brighton, that's Graham Potter. No, it was Graham Potter at some point, but Roberto De Zerbi's been there sometime and you can already see what he's trying to do there. But this is the thing, I don't want to compare to Brighton too much. I see too many Brighton comparisons. This is Chelsea, it's a different gravy, it's a different level. There are players at Chelsea that are expected to perform already. There's a standard, there's a level, right? At Brighton, it's a little bit looser, I would say. And there are players in that Brighton team that I would say managers or scouts or fans everywhere can look and go, I don't really quite know about that one particular player. I don't really understand, or I don't know him too well. I need to pay more attention. You maybe need to watch more Brighton games. You maybe need to watch more videotapes. You maybe need to watch more clips. But with Chelsea, everyone knows Chelsea. Everyone knows Man United. Everyone knows Man City. You just know. Everyone, all the big clubs, everyone knows what their players are truly about, right? With Brighton, it's more under the radar. So I think you can get away with, you know, trying to do what you want to do, but being a little bit experimental, trying to see what works and what doesn't work. This player all of a sudden shows that there's something good there, there's something special. Oh, okay, cool, nice one. At Chelsea, you have a standard of players that should already be good. Good. You know, and if they're not, what are they doing here? So with Graham Potter, I feel like there's a sense of he's not quite sure what he knows he's trying to do. I feel like he doesn't know what he's trying to do. This is where I'm concerned. I have a concern. So my head's all over the place right now in terms of where are we going, what are we doing, what are we trying to do. If I'm asked about what I think a solution is, look, Graham Potter in the next few games needs to think of what he wants from this team and try and implement it immediately and stick with it. Stick with a system, stick with a way. The thing is, with this Chelsea team, there's one flaw that I noticed yesterday against Arsenal, was Arsenal were pressing us aggressively. They were coming at us. They were dispossessing us very easily. They were controlling the ball. They were compact. They had avenues to go down to attack, players that were wide, using them very well, coming back in, combining very well, and then they had players that were there compact, ready, just in case if we launched a counter-attack. And then whenever there was transition and we had the ball, they had players there ready to defend. Ready. Plus some players come back all of a sudden, then we haven't outnumbered them. They've caught up. If not, they have more than us in terms of to defend. We can't even launch a good counter-attack, which would have been the solution yesterday. If we had a successful counter-attack, if we had players that could really hit on the counter, we could have damaged Arsenal because they were leaving space in behind at times. Despite their defence being compact, I felt like if we were quick enough, we would have been able to launch counters that maybe they would not have kept up with. But we don't have the tools. We ain't got that. We haven't got that. In order to turn into an attacking team, how in the hell do you want to do that when you haven't even got the tools to counter-attack, let alone attack? You know? To think you're just going to throw all the bodies forward and just expose your defence. It's not the way. It's not the way. We're not dangerous enough with our ability. So there's multiple levels of issues here in this team. We have this reliance on Reece James. We have this reliance on Kante, who we have to replace. We've got... Overall, it seems like there's problems within players. There's problems in the manager. There's problems in the recruitment. And there's problems as to whether we actually go ahead with Potter because we trust him and we reckon that there is an identity there. We just haven't seen it yet. Or are we going to doubt and then maybe get rid of him quite soon? Because at the end of the day, Champions League football is Champions League football. If we don't make it, there's a problem. Even financially, and Todd Bowley's already made that clear. I feel disorientated. I don't know where we're going. Baffled. Absolutely baffled. But in the very, very extreme near future, the next few games, right, next couple of games, post-World Cup, etc., I feel like Potter needs to try and just establish a way. And even if we lose, just try and execute a way and stick with it. because we're changing too much, we're tinkering too much, we're doing multiple things, and I think there's an element of that that's probably confusing a lot of these players. But I look at some of those players, and I also think that there's players here that are just not good enough. It's a balance of the two, I think, and the solution overall... What do we do? What do we do? We'll wait and see. I'm looking forward to seeing Reece James come back. We have drawn against Borussia Dortmund in the Champions League, and I do feel like, as the director who was there in attendance did say, that he reckons that the teams that are going to show up at that time are going to be different to the teams that we see now, which is probably a hint that we're going to go into the January transfer market. So, is Graham Potter going to get what he wants? But again, there's a bit of a question mark here. Does he know what he wants? You know, at Brighton, it would have been okay to go for the average player. At Chelsea, nah, it's not. You got to get players that you know are going to come in and do a job for you. Because if not, we're going to end up in the same cycle of, oh, it has not worked. Manager pays the price. See you later. Now we're stuck with players that don't fit. So, as much as it's players' responsibility, it's manager responsibility to get it right. And the recruitment has to be on point. But we need an identity first, because if without an identity, without a way of playing, how do you want to know what you want? How do you want to know who to get? How do you want to... You can't. You can't. You know? The one thing I respect about Arsenal, even though I thought Arteta wouldn't last, is that they decided to stick with him, but there's clear communication as to what he's doing, what he's trying to do. And I feel like everyone actually knows what Arteta was trying to do, but the players he had, right... It's like he was inferior. He couldn't get through to him. So there was two solutions there. You either get rid of those players that are causing trouble, or you get rid of the manager and you start again with someone else, maybe someone a little bit more high profile. They decided to go with back Arteta, get rid of any problem he has in this team. And they did. They got rid of some top players here, Aubameyang included. But it's replaced with young, fresh, good talent, including some of the lads that were out on loan, come back and everyone's on the same page. And now you're starting to see. With Chelsea, we've not had that since Mourinho, I would say. We've not had that in terms of players brought for that manager and it's worked. We haven't had it. Conte, you could say there were main names, but then it broke down very quickly. Very quickly. After the second season, it broke down. So, we're too scattered. But does Potter know what he wants? Does he know what he's trying to do with this team? Has he got an identity? I'm going to leave all those questions with you. Let me know down below what you think. And then we'll see what happens. And we'll try and analyse it a bit more. But the preview to Manchester City Chelsea will be coming tomorrow. Make sure you're here for that one. And then the match review after the game on Wednesday. And look, I feel like it's going to be heavily rotated for both teams. But don't expect too much. We've got Newcastle on the weekend as well. Not ideal. Not ideal at all. Before we go, let me show you a little bit of news very quickly. That way I can wrap up and we know exactly what's going on. So this is the latest in terms of the game against Manchester City. We've got Amari Hutchinson is in contention to be selected for Chelsea's Carabao Cup fixture at Man City after being told not to report for international duty with Jamaica. So that's a good thing because I want to see players like Hutchinson come through. When we're getting performances like this against Arsenal, we need to try and see what other players we have. Simple as that, because maybe you find better fits. Maybe. So there's that. There's news on Jorginho as well, which I found shocking. Jorginho has told Chelsea he's ready to sign a contract extension as long as they meet his 12 million a year demands. His current salary is 5.5. See, this doesn't sit well with me at all. What have you done to really show and prove that you deserve that money? More than double of what you're getting now? Doesn't work like that, mate. Doesn't work like that. Sorry. No. And this is something you wouldn't have got from the old crop. Let's be real. And talking about the old crop, here's one of them who agrees with the criticism on Chelsea right now. A man who was part of one of the most exciting Chelsea team ever agrees. Florian Malouda liked the tweet. Even the worst Chelsea squads over the last 2 decades or more had more of an attacking threat than this one. No one knows how to shoot or where the goal is. Florian Malouda knows. And I remember watching Malouda, and even I had a problem with Malouda at one point, man, because I saw some of the things that he was wasting back then. I was going, bro, what is he doing? But even he was lethal enough for me to know that, no, he's a good player. He's a good player. And when you look back, you'd have Malouda any day of the week now. Any day of the week, you know? So there's that. But the fact that he knows this, the fact that many people can see this, we don't know where an attacking threat is coming from. We haven't got one. How do you want to beat a team like Arsenal? How do you want to beat these top teams? If you can't go and attack. You don't have anything to bomb forward with. You lose the ball needlessly. You do all these weird things. It doesn't make any sense. And it brings back to question on the fact that even Malouda knowing that our attacking threat is down, we don't know how to shoot. There was a reporter yesterday after the game that was real with Graham Potter and went, I don't mean to be harsh, but it looks like a lot of the players didn't know what they were doing. And all Graham Potter said was, I don't think that's true. All right, tell us more then. But even him in his eyes, and you can see that he reckons it's true. This is what I'm saying. There needs to be a bond here between manager and players, and right now I don't see it. That's what I'm going to leave you with. Let me know your thoughts down below on all the points that I've mentioned today. How do you see this going forward? What would you do? And yeah, I'll see you tomorrow for the preview. Hit the subscribe button if you are new. Hit the notification bell to be notified once I've uploaded. Smash the like button if you've enjoyed this. I'll see you tomorrow, people. In a bit, take care and peace.